All right, this is Trace Trajano, your real estate mentor, best-selling author of the book Think Rich Quick, and a lot of beginning investors ask me, one of the problems that they have is they don't know how to raise capital or money for their real estate deals. Okay, that stump and stop most people dead on their tracks is, they don't have money to buy these big properties or these great deals, and you can't just rely on a bank loan to buy your deals. If you do, you're going to miss out on a lot of good deals because banks generally move very slowly, and if you don't move quickly, then you lose out on a lot of great deals. All right, and that's where private money comes in. You need private money in order for you to tell sellers, like banks that have a lot of foreclosed properties, that hey, you're a, I'm a cash buyer and I can close in 2 weeks, and you won't be able to do that unless you have private money backing you. So money is crucial for success as a real estate investor. Now, of course, if you're a beginner, you don't have, you probably don't have a lot of um, you know, well, you obviously don't have investors, right? So how do you do this? Okay, so this is how you do this. All right. First is who are the people, okay, that you need to talk with, and how do you seek them, okay? And in fact, this is actually simpler than you think, okay? Let's look into this. All right. So look at your cell phone right now. I mean, seriously, look at your cell phone, okay? And look at the address book that you have, the number of contacts that you have in your cell phone. And I bet you, if you're a normal human being, okay, that you have normal interaction with, with a lot of people, you probably have a job, you're earning some money, and you meet a lot of people. And chances are you have at least, I guarantee it, if you're a normal person, at least 100 people in your contact database, right? In your email alone. Then look at your email list, all right? How many people do you have in your email list? I was surprised when the last time I checked, I had like 3,000 people in my email list. I haven't even been tracking the people in my email list. But let's say, that I'm an abnormal case, you know, um, perhaps you have at least 100 people again in your email list, right? They may or they may not be the same people in your cell phone list, right? And then look at your Facebook friends, okay? There is this running contest, right? Maybe not explicit, we asked each I asked my wife how many Facebook friends she has, and she asked me back how many Facebook friends that I have. All right. So of course I have, like, a lot more Facebook friends, but I bet again, that you will have at least 100 Facebook friends in your Facebook profile. All right. Especially if you have started Facebook, um, you know, a long time ago or a few months ago, even, you should have at least 100 friends in your Facebook profile. All right. So, but even if you only have, let's say, 33 people in each of these, by the time you add, 33 people from your cell phone list, in your email list, and your Facebook friends, you have at least 100 people that you can contact, right? Now, this is what you're going to do. You're going to tell them or ask your people, all right, a simple question. Okay, and this one is a magic question because this absolutely works. I gave this exercise to the attendees of the first ever Think Rich Quick seminar, and in just 31 minutes, absolute beginners were able to raise 31 million pesos in just 31 minutes by just doing this exercise. And literally, after watching this video, you can do this exercise and see what you get. Okay, so so those friends that you have, your contact, okay, you ask this simple question: who do you know who wants to make 12 to 15% return on their money? Again, who do you know who wants to make 12 to 15% return on their money? All right, by doing it this way, you're asking for a referral. Okay, you want to be referred to someone who has the money or who wants to make a great return on their money. All right, you are not begging for money. Okay, and you give people a lesser chance for them to say no to you. Okay, see that the mistake that most beginning investors make is they ask the wrong question. You know, um, they ask a question that is similar to this. Why don't you invest in my deal and you will make 12 to 15% return on your money? Okay? So, I mean, that is the wrong question to ask because, number one, you're a beginner, right? And so, why will someone invest in you? And number two, you don't even know if that person you're asking has any money. All right. So guess what? You just gave that person at least two chances for or two reasons why he or she will say no to you. All right. Whereas if you ask for a referral, then there is less chance for that person to say no to you. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that person can say, "Oh, I really don't know anyone," but chances are he or she will probably know someone. I mean, 12 to 15% return on your money. I mean, that's huge, right? So do that exercise. It's very simple. And yet the whole idea here is you want to be referred to someone, okay, who has the money and who wants to make 12 to 15% return on their money. All right? And you have to give a big enough return so that people get excited about it or they get enticed to refer you to someone. All right? So that's the whole idea on why you want to ask this magic question. All right? So again, this question works. It absolutely does, and you should go ahead and try doing it right now. All right. Now, what do you say to them? Okay, in order to convince them to invest in your deal. All right. So what you need to do is first you need to establish rapport and trust. You can't just go ahead. Once you get referred, you just won't go and say, hey, you want to make 12 to 15% return on your money, invest in my deal, send me the money tomorrow. Okay, of course it doesn't work that way. All right, you will the potential investor will just hang up on you. Okay, if you do that. All right. Now, what you do in order to establish rapport and trust is again you basically mention, okay, that you were referred by that person's friend. Okay, so if let's say you're the one who referred you to this prospective investor, his name is John, and then the prospective investor, his name is Peter. Okay, you can just tell Peter, hey Peter, um, your friend John, our common friend John referred me to you, and he told me that you're interested in making a 12 to 15% return on your money, right? So you start the conversation that way, and then you explain that, hey, I'm a real estate investor and I encounter deals all the time. I want to meet with you if you're interested in knowing how you can earn 12 to 15% return on your money. All right, so there's no obligation. You're not forcing the prospective investors to invest right now. You just want to meet and talk over coffee, or something like that. All right, now you should also leverage on the credibility of your mentors and partners if you already have them, obviously, right? And this is what I strongly suggest to beginning investors. Don't go at this venture alone. Seek out mentors and partners, okay, who have more experience than you. Because if you're a beginner, you have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and maybe even a lot of time, and you can bring that to the table, so to speak, and you can seek out other people who have more experience, who probably don't have the time because they're doing so many things, and you can help them in their business. So you can partner with them, and then you can leverage on their experience. You can tell them, hey, one of my partners, have done, $10 million worth of deals, and so we know what we're doing. So you can cite the experience and leverage on their credibility. All right, and then again, don't beg for money. Okay, don't beg for money. Just say that, hey, this investment is open until so and so date, and if you want to invest, let me know. If not, it's okay. So don't beg for money, because investors have their BS meter, okay, or their bullshit meter up, and if you try to oversell this investment, then all the more they will detect through their BS meter that you're just bullshitting them, and they will likely not invest with you because you haven't established rapport and trust yet. All right, so it's crucial again, just to reiterate, that you should not beg for money. All right, and then what you should say to your investors, I mean, obviously this will only work if you have a deal already. Okay, but the very first thing that you need to mention is the safety of the investment. Okay, the mistake that most beginning investors make is they just say, hey, this investment will make you 15% return. Isn't it nice? Sign on the dotted line, please. Okay, no, you don't approach it that way. You just tell them, hey, look, this is the investment. All right, I am buying it for 50%. This is just an example, 50% below market value. All right, so in the absolute worst case, you can actually make more money than 15%, and that's the absolute worst case, because then once the if the deal falls apart, all right, for some strange reason I cannot pay you, which is close to impossible because the deal is so good. All right, but if in case that happens, then you get to take the property. Okay, and you actually make more money because you are getting a property that is a lot cheaper. Okay, imagine that, if in the worst case you actually make more money versus the best case, then it becomes a no-brainer. All right, so it becomes a very safe proposition for your investor. All right, and then lastly, obviously talk about the return on investment. All right, and then you have to realize that there are different types of return. All right, so there is cash on cash return, which is very important. All right, but return on investment is like the overall return of all the returns coming from the investment, and cash on cash return is just one component of that ROI, or return on investment. All right, so it's crucial that you do your homework. All right, that again, that's part of establishing and continuing to maintain that credibility with your investor. So you have to know the numbers, and once you sort of do your homework and your due diligence, and you have laid out that, hey, you know in the best case you get a huge return, 15% return. In the worst case, you take back the property and you can actually make even more money. All right, then it becomes a no-brainer proposition for your investor, and the investor will just have to say, well, yeah, of course, it's a no-brainer, I'll just sign now. And that's how you can raise millions and millions of pesos, or even millions of dollars for your deals. All right, so with that, the next video that I'm going to give is an interview, uh, you know, with one of my students who started from scratch. He didn't know any rich person, okay, prior to the challenge of raising money, and yet he was able to do so in just 21 days. He was able to raise 1.5 million pesos, and if you just follow this um, blueprint that I laid out before you, and really implement it, you too can raise millions and millions of pesos and even dollars for your real estate deals. All right, so with that, this is your mentor, Trace Trujano, and I will talk to you in the next video.